Well, Mayor, I heard you said I've been tested and I've delivered. And looking at your background, you were one time a small business owner, and you were affiliated with an insurance company, Takaful, and also you've been the chief executive of KMC. What kind of lessons has that shown you? Because you interface, you hear stories of people who are struggling, everyday average people. What kind of message or what kind of experience that you earn is for private sector up to being KMC mayor would you apply or replicate if you become, the leader of a party and ultimately Gambians are able to listen to you to offer you the presidency?
Of KMC, there's a chief executive officer, which actually impedes on my ability to deliver because by right I should be the chief executive in a normal setting. But I think it's a brilliant question. I was a small business owner. I am still a business owner. I've had a tremendous level of experience in governance before, and especially now, because I was a board secretary, I could see how private sector governance works. And now being a mayor 7 years, I see how public sector works. So I've seen two different worlds. I've seen the parallels, I've seen the differences. I also see how they complement each other and how they need each other for a successful country. But I think what I've learned from both experiences is the most important thing a leader should do is to build a competent team and to ensure that there's a culture of delivery. That has been taken away from us in local government because we can't build our teams. Government hires our workers and we just have to find a way to work with them. But if one became president, I think the priority should be not what you can do, is about what team you can put together to deliver. Because you can't do it alone. You need competence around you, you need capacity, you need an organizational culture and structure to help you deliver on your vision. And of course, there must be monitoring and evaluation. So as you set your KPIs, you must have the ability to also do appraisals and ensure people are hitting their targets. We've seen it by Kagame. One of the things that impresses me about his government is he does not only set KPIs, annually he would meet with senior civil servants and public sector personnel and basically hold them to account to see what they have delivered in their various sectors. So that is one thing missing in Gambia, setting targets and holding people accountable. And I think that is a culture that must be instituted.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Lord Mayor, my other question is obviously what the Gambia currently is battling with, which is corruption, and it's a outlier out there, and we haven't seen any seriousness in combating that. And it called for concern, and it also called for uh, uh, renewed energy into finding ways how we could mitigate government wastage. My question to you is, how would you approach in terms of all the other reports that are coming in and highlighting massive misappropriation of public funds? What would be your approach or your political party's approach in ensuring that you take these audit reports very seriously and also implement them into the latter part, you know, in terms of following the due process and ensuring that those who are found liable to be held to account?
First of all, I like to quote Lee Kuan Yew, who's arguably one of the greatest leaders ever in the world, and the former Prime Minister of Singapore and the founding Prime Minister of Singapore, who took Singapore from a $500 per capita economy GDP to a 40, $50,000 per capita economy GDP. And one of the things he did was He brought a zero tolerance culture for corruption. And one of his allied ministers, who was one of his best friends, arguably, was caught in $1 million corruption scandal. And he ordered his arrest before the police could get there. The guy took a poison pill and killed himself. And Lee Kuan Yew's press conference, he said, I have no pity for the guy. He was my friend, he was an ally. But if I let him go and he could get away with corruption, then anybody could do it. Anybody would do it. So it's about setting examples, it's about being principled, it's about creating a fair system. A thief who breaks into a house in a local community is is shouldn't fare any worse than, a thief in the office who steals from public coffers, no matter who they are and what their status is. So I think Gambia's governance structure already has checks and balances. It's simply not respected. So Gambia is one country where laws are just not respected and institutions are not allowed to do their work. You have a national audit office, you have a attorney general's chambers, you have a police department that could literally be allowed to do their work. Anybody found wanting should be dealt with by the law. The problem is executive interference. The problem is cover-ups, trying to remove people who are investigating and trying to put fear into officials and not allow them to be independent. But I think, of course, after that, the government could go a lot further by instituting an anti-corruption bill, instituting and establishing an anti-corruption agency as well. I mean, this is not rocket science. It's just ensuring there's accountability. But also, there must be a plan to ensure civil servants and public servants are well paid and ensuring that they're held accountable if they're found wanting. So it's a carrot and stick approach, but it starts from the president's office. It must be taken seriously.
Thank you. Go ahead.